Welcome to Portugal, somewhere near Lisbon, and the launch of the brand new BMW F90 M5. It's got 553 pounds-foot of torque, 592 brake horsepower, but the big news is that some of that power is now going to the front wheels. So we thought, MX Drive. Clearly they want us to take it off-road. Nah, I'm only joking. Estoril's near here. Let's go and see if it's any fun. Having managed to extract the M5 from our rocky retreat without any embarrassing punctures, we headed straight for the circuit. Estoril was built in 1976 and hosted Formula One races between 1984 and 1996. So as a child I remember avidly listening to Murray Walker's commentary as the likes of Andrea De Cesaris and Thierry Boutsen scrapped for minor placings. Today it has a slightly faded glory to its infrastructure, which somehow only adds to the nostalgic appeal. And the circuit itself is fantastic to drive. We decide to begin in appropriate fashion on the front row with a launch control start. So we're on pretty much pole position at Estoril. When Grand Prix cars first came here, they probably wouldn't accelerate as quickly as this is about to. MDM mode, Sport Plus, drive. See how we go. Left foot hard on the brake. And that's 100 miles an hour. BMW claims an entirely believable 3.4 seconds for the sprint to 62 miles an hour, matching Mercedes E63S AMG to the very 10th. Perhaps of more interest is that it's nearly a second quicker than the old rear-wheel drive M5, showing just how much traction those front wheels add. After all, the 4.4 litre twin-turbo V8, now with electric wastegates on the turbos, has gained less than 10% in terms of power and torque over the old car. But what effect has the addition of a centre clutch and front drive shafts had on the handling? So what we're going to do now is if we turn DSC all the way off, it then gives us options to configure MX Drive. This is where it gets fun. So we'll try four-wheel drive sport for the moment with DSC all the way off and see how that works. This is the chicane here, sort of uphill. It's still really rear biased, but you can just hold that little bit of angle, not too much steering lock there, and let the throttle, constant throttle, and it'll help you out of the slide. You also get better turn-in with a four-wheel drive sport on, so it's really nice, particularly when you're just learning the circuit. So the tricky double apex here kind of seems to flick you out of the exit. It's a really cool circuit, this. You do still feel the weight of this car, undeniably, but that's half the excitement I think with these things, is actually just managing the weight, feeling it move around. We've now got a 8-speed auto as opposed to the 7-speed dual clutch, and on upshifts it's brilliant. Just occasionally when you're driving you don't quite get the crispness that you expect with the dual clutch box, but it's pretty good, and I think should make it a better road car. So let's put it into two-wheel drive with everything off, see how that feels. Have they sanitised the M5? We're about to find out. Just so nicely balanced. When it's up over there, for a big car, it becomes insanely balletic, really. I know it's ridiculous, but it's so much fun doing this in a big car. Incidentally, this car is painted Marina Bay Blue, not Estoril Blue, which is weird given our location. Anyway, other more important details about this car include the fact that it is spec'd with optional carbon ceramic brakes, as indicated by the gold calipers, and also has the optional sports exhaust fitted. The car certainly sounds better than the previous generation, particularly in Sport Plus mode. And before you say anything, no, it's not all construct of the speakers. The combination of a new exhaust resonator, the 350 bar injection system, and the new electric adjustment for the flaps and the exhaust have all helped the M5 to find more of a voice. So that's a few laps of Estoril in the big M5. I think we better go and see if it's any good as a road car before the tyres wear out. It's fair to say that on an empty track, the new M5 was so deliciously progressively oversteery that at times I felt I ought to be wearing a velvet smoking jacket. But let's be realistic, many M5s will never get near a pit lane, so it's vital that it stacks up as a decent road car as well. So the first thing we need to discuss about driving this on the road is, well, the comfort aspect. See, the trouble is, sports cars and even supercars these days have become so multi-talented, multifaceted, I suppose, in their ability to do long journeys and potter around town that something like this then has to be, well, even better. It has to be absolutely peerless at the everyday stuff. And it is. I mean, this is all lovely. The iDrive, I was always a fan of it with the rotary control down here and the buttons, but now having this as touchscreen just works really well. There's even the gesture control if you want to feel like you're Harry Potter. Voluminous. The ride comfort is everything you expect. I think because this is the M5, this actually feels it's just slightly sharper even in its most comfortable mode, which is nice because the 5 Series is a big car, and so it's actually more relaxing, I find, in this car because you can place it just that much more easily. The seats are wonderfully comfortable, and generally it's just a very, very lovely place to be. So the M5 is comfortable and everyday usable, but what about the middle ground? The second question I have for the new M5 is it actually that engaging when you find a good piece of road? The trouble I had with the last F10 model was that you just had to drive it so fast to feel like you were getting anything out of it, really. This one is much better. I put it into M1, which is everything on sport, and then the MDM, so the rear bias 4-wheel drive mode. It's like, because it's 4-wheel drive, they now had to give it much more agility and actually make it more fun. It still feels like a big car, particularly on the brakes, I have to say, but it's just the balance of the car. That's what's so important to a fast M BMW. And this really does feel like it's got it. The first dynamic impressions of the new M5 on road are definitely positive. It even seems to ride the bumps well, although admittedly this road wasn't much of a test on that front. More time is definitely needed on a greater variety of tarmac to really determine whether enough of that on-track entertainment is available at sane speeds. I feel a twin test with an E63 is required. What we can say is that the ability to send power to all 4 wheels certainly hasn't neutered the appeal of the M5. If anything, it has done just the opposite.